If you're watching this video, congratulations. You have made one of the best decisions of your life. Yes, pursuing the PMP certification is going to change your life forever and for the better. I understand how you are feeling right now. When it comes to starting the PMP certification process, you probably have a lot of questions in your mind, such as what is my first step? Am I eligible to take the exam? How do I complete the PMP exam application and schedule the exam? How much will this certification cost me? Should I go for self-paced e-learning course or join an online training program? Don't worry, I've got you covered. In this video, we will go through everything you need to know about the PMP certification process in detail with illustration, references, and tips. This is a complete guide. You won't need to watch any other videos to understand the PMP exam process. So, without further ado, let's dive in and get started. We'll start this discussion by understanding the PMP certification process overview and the various steps you need to follow and correct order to complete the certification. This will give you a big picture understanding, and then we will dive deeper into each step. There are four major steps. First, whether you have eligibility to take this exam. Second, getting your PMP exam application accepted by PMI. Third, schedule the exam. And the last step, the fourth step, is exam preparation. Now, let's begin with who this certification is for and the eligibility criteria required to pursue PMP certification. There are three basic criteria we need to fulfill to qualify for this exam. First, your educational background. You must have a diploma or a bachelor or a master degree to be eligible for this certification. Second, this certification is meant for professionals with project management experience. You need to showcase this experience in your PMP exam application, which I will explain shortly. The required experience varies based on your educational background. For example, if you have a 4-year bachelor degree, you need a minimum of 36 months of project management experience. If you have a master's degree, you need at least 24 months of experience. And for a diploma, a minimum of 60 months is required. Remember this, project management experience is different from your total work experience. Let's say you worked for 10 years, that's your total work experience. And in that, you have managed projects for 3 years duration. Now, this 3 years, that is this 36 months of experience, qualify you to take this certification. If you have any specific questions related to your project management experience, please let me know in the comments. I will answer your queries. The third requirement is completing a minimum of 35 hours of formal project management training. This is mandatory, not optional. The training must be specifically designed for PMP exam preparation and should cover topics listed in the exam content outline. I will explain the exam content outline in detail shortly. When it comes to this training, there are two main ways to complete these 35 hours of training. First, you can opt for a self-paced e-learning course from platforms like Udemy, LinkedIn Learning, or Coursera. This is the most cost-effective option, and I personally prepared for exam using self-paced course and scored above target in all the process groups. Back then, we had 5 process groups, but now we have 3 domains. What are these domains? Don't worry, we will cover them soon. So, based on my experience, a good self paced course is sufficient to ace the exam. However, the downside of self paced e learning is that you are on your own. You won't have a mentor to guide you. So, this will make your learning curve steeper and slowing your progress. The second option is attending live online training or actual classroom training. This approach will help you to learn faster with proper mentorship and guidance. However, it's more expensive than self paced learning, and the quality of training depends on the institute you choose. If you select a mediocre training provider, you won't get much value from this option. So ultimately, it's all about your preference. If you're confident and or have solid project management experience, go for a self-paced course. This saves money and is often better than most live classes offered by many training providers. Trust me. You can try this approach by purchasing a course on Udemy for a small price and see if it works for you. If not, you can switch to live training. On the other hand, if you want to fast track your learning and need a mentor to guide you through this process, investing in a good online training program is a wise choice. For your kind information, I have an excellent PMP prep course on Udemy, and I also conduct best in class PMP online training for a competitive price. Kindly check the description for more details. Once you have completed 35 hours of formal project management training, you earn 35 contact hours, also called as Professional Development Units, PDUs. According to PMI, 1 hour of training equals 1 contact hour. So completing 35 hours of training give you 35 contact hours. Remember, in case if you have done CAPM certification from PMI, then this 35 hours of professional education is waived for you. With these three things, that is education qualification, project management experience, and 35 hours of formal project management training, you are now eligible to apply for PMP exam. You will need to fill in these details in the PMP exam application and submit it on the pmi.org portal. Step 2. Now, the second step is to fill in all these details and submit your application. Why we need to do this? As we know, there are three important criteria to fulfill to take this exam. We need to furnish these details to PMI for them to review and accept us for the PMP certification exam. But why this is essential? In a recent interview, Pierre Lehman, the CEO of the Project Management Institute, PMI, mentioned that PMI act as a broker of trust between the employers and the project managers they hire. Beautiful, isn't it? When you are PMP certified, leading and reputed companies will entrust you and manage their projects. Why? Because they know that your credential and experience have been verified by PMI, allowing them to trust you with project management. This is why PMI diligently checks whether we have the knowledge, qualification, and experience to earn this certification. Now, let's talk about how to submit these details on the pmi.org portal. First, you need to go to pmi.org and register by clicking the register button. Fill in the form, click register now. This will create a free PMI account for you. Remember, a PMI account is different from PMI membership, which we will cover later. Creating a PMI account is free. If you already have an account, you can skip this step and start the PMP application process. To fill in the details in your PMP exam application, go to the Certifications tab and choose Project Management Professional PMP from the menu. This will take you to a new page with information about the PMP certification process. You can skim through this page for more details about the PMP exam process, but we are covering everything in this video. Click on Apply Now. This will open the application page. Here you can fill in three important sections. The first page is about filling your education details, both academic and professional education. Professional education refers to the 35 hours of project management training you completed for this exam. You can fill in your academic details based on your college degree certificate. For professional education, you need to use your PMP course completion certificate. As I already mentioned, this can be obtained by completing a self learning course from platforms like Udemy or Coursera, or through live classroom training or online training. Fill in the details found in the course completion certificate provided by your training provider and the number of qualifying hours. Most training providers offer 35 hours, which is the minimum required for the exam. However, some companies like mine, GAN Scholar, offers 45 plus hours of training to ensure better learning experience. Okay, anyway, you need just 35. That's the minimum requirement. After filling in the details, save them. Next, press continue to fill in the experience information on the experience page. You need to provide your project management experience. As mentioned earlier, this certification is not for beginners. The required experience depend on your educational background. For example, if you have 4-year bachelor degree, you need at least 36 months of project management experience. You could have worked as a team leader, project manager, associate project manager, scrum master, product owner, or functional manager. Focus on what role you played and how you managed the project. Avoid writing a lot of technical details about your product or service you have created in your project. Instead, describe how you prepare the schedule, manage the budget, handle the risk, and develop the project management plan and so on. We should help the reviewer of your application to assess whether you have the project management experience. Also, you don't need all the experience from a single project. You can add multiple projects by clicking Add Additional Experience. The online form will automatically calculate your total experience, which you can view under Experience Summary. I have made an exclusive video on drafting the PMP application, covering everything you need to know, especially using ChatGPT to generate your application draft within minutes. The link is in the description, so please check this video. After filling in your experience page, click Continue to proceed to the exam details. Here you will need to select your exam location. Based on your location, the exam fee will be determined. For example, the fee is higher in US than in India. However, avoid providing false information to save money, as this can lead to disciplinary action from PMI. Also, avoid using VPNs if you are taking the exam online to fake your location. We will cover how to take the exam online or from a center shortly. Let's say you have scenarios like you are living in the US during the time you draft your application, but you plan to travel to India to take the exam. Then you can select India as your location. This is fine. Some details here will be autofilled based on the details provided during the PMP account creation process. Fill in any missing information, save the details, check the two boxes, and click Submit application. Before submitting, print the information from the experience and education page as PDFs and share it with your mentor or trainer or someone who recently passed the PMP exam. This will help you avoid rejections of your application or additional questions from PMI during the review process. After making any necessary changes, update and submit your application. PMI takes 5 business days to review and accept your application. You will be notified via your registered email ID. If PMI requests more details or select your application for an audit, don't panic. About 5% of applications are randomly audited. If selected, provide the requested information. The audit process takes an additional 5 business days. For more details on handling the PMI audit, check my video on submitting your PMP application. The link is in the description. Remember, up to this point, we don't need to spend any money. Creating an account, submitting the application are free. The next step in your PMP certification process is to pay the exam fee. Once your application is accepted, you have 365 days to pay the fee and schedule your exam. You'll receive the payment link and details via your registered email once your application is approved, or you can access it directly from pmi.org portal. After signing into your PMI account, you will see that your application is accepted and a button will be enabled to pay the exam fee. When it comes to paying the exam fee, it is based on your location. For example, the fees are around $675 in the US, while in India it is 47,150 rupees. Keep in mind that these are the prices at the time of making this video and may change in the future. You can check the latest fee for your country through the link provided in the description. You can save a significant amount of money by becoming a PMI member. To do so, visit your PMI account, click on Become a Member, and pay the membership fee. For India, the membership fee is 9,840 rupees, and for the US, it is $139. The membership is valid for 1 year and renewal is not mandatory. We are only taking the membership to save money on the exam fee, as PMI offers a huge discount for members. The discounted exam fee is $425 for US and 23,288 rupees for India. If you calculate the savings, you will save around $111 in the US and approximately 14,000 rupees in India after including the membership fee. Note that the fee mentioned are exclusive of the taxes, which you need to pay on top of this amount. You don't have to pay the exam fee immediately after your application is approved. You get 365 days from the date your application is accepted to pay the exam fee. So you have enough time to make the payment and you can continue with your exam preparation in the meantime. After paying the exam fee, you will receive an email with a link to schedule your exam. Use this link to schedule your exam. If you find this video useful, please consider giving a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Step 3 is about scheduling the exam. To schedule your exam, you need to make two important decisions. First, choose a tentative date for your exam. Typically, PMP aspirants need 2 to 3 months of preparation, spending 2 to 3 hours per day, 6 days a week. This adds up to around 200 to 250 hours of study time. However, this varies based on various factors like your learning speed, project management experience, and familiarity with tools and techniques. For example, if you're in the second week of February and need 2 more months to prepare, you can choose third or fourth week of April as your exam date. If you want to reschedule your exam, you can do this without paying any charges to PMI if you can do it 30 days before the scheduled exam date. However, rescheduling within 30 days comes with a fee of $70 plus taxes. If you try to reschedule within 2 days left, you won't be able to reschedule the exam and you will lose the entire exam fee if you didn't attempt the exam. Therefore, make your decisions at least 4 weeks in advance to avoid paying the rescheduling charges or losing all your exam fee. The second decision is whether to take the exam online proctored from home or at a exam center. Both options cost the same, but I personally recommend taking the exam at the center. By doing so, you can transfer all the risk to the exam center, such as internet issues or unexpected Windows updates. Many aspirants who took the exam from home reported discomfort because they have been constantly monitored via the web camera. Some faced issues like the exam software shutting down when they moved their head or picked up a pen from the floor. Others struggled with the ID verification. To avoid these hassles, it's better to take the exam at a center. However, if you have health issues or don't have an exam center near to your home or any other personal reasons, then definitely you can consider taking the exam online. To find a nearby exam center, click the link provided, enter the postal code or place, and search for available centers. While scheduling the exam, select the date and time and decide whether you want to take the exam online proctored or at an exam center. If you choose an exam center, you need to select your preferred center from the list and submit the details. Remember, without paying the exam fee, you won't be able to schedule the exam. Once you schedule your exam, you will receive a confirmation email. With this, your exam scheduling process is complete. Now it's time to focus on your preparation, and that is step number 4, preparing for the exam. Preparing for your exam is the most important part of your PMP certification process. If you want to pass the PMP exam, you need to handle this phase with utmost care. Diligent preparation with a proven strategy is essential to succeed. I'm going to list the critical components of your exam preparation process. I also have a detailed video on this topic, for which I will provide the link in the description. In this video, I will provide a high-level overview of the PMP exam preparation process. I have dedicated video for PMP exam preparation, and you can find the link in the description. First, let's bust a common myth. Many training companies and influencers claim you can pass the PMP exam without reading a single book. Please don't take this route. As a PMP trainer who has trained over 10,000 aspirants, I can confidently say that reading the PMBOK guide is crucial. I understand that the PMBOK guide can be challenging to read, but it's essential for your success. Trust me. As of now, PMI has published key resources for PMP exam preparation: the PMBOK 7th edition, the Process Group Practice Guide, and the Agile Practice Guide. The upcoming PMBOK 8th edition is expected to combine all the three guides, which will make your preparation even more streamlined. Until then, focus on these three resources. Next, I want to tell you the importance of high quality practice questions. Using high quality practice question is another crucial aspect of your preparation. The best practice questions closely resembles the real exam questions. Seek recommendations from recent PMP certified professionals or check online forums to find reliable question banks. A balanced approach is to use both module wise tests and full mock exams. Module wise tests will help you apply concepts from specific areas like scope management, risk management, and scheduling. Whereas mock exams, on the other hand, will help you practice solving 180 questions in 230 minutes, simulating the actual exam environment. A good mock exam simulator should have features like countdown timer, different question types like multiple choice, drag and drop. It should also allow you to mark questions for review. Aim to complete at least full 5 mock tests and score an average of 75% or above before attempting the actual exam. I've provided a free full mock exam for you. Check the description for the link. I also recommend my module wise practice questions on Udemy in the description. Trust me, these are great questions and you will find them very useful. Finally, create a study plan and stick to it. Consistency is the key to stay on track and making steady progress. If you follow this strategy, you will be well prepared to take your exam and pass it on your first attempt. Now, let me quickly cover the PMP exam for you. The PMP exam is based on the exam content outline, which is published and regularly updated by PMI. This document holds the PMP exam syllabus, and you can download it directly from the pmi.org portal using the provided link. Inside this document, you will find all the project management topics that will be tested in the exam. The exam questions will assess our understanding of these topics and whether we can apply that knowledge to solve scenario based questions. The exam consists of a total of 180 questions, and most of which are multiple choice. There will be also drag and drop questions, multiple correct answer type questions. You need to complete all these questions within 230 minutes, which means you have approximately 75 seconds per question. The exam is divided into three major domains: people, process, and business. The process domain focuses on core technical project management concepts like risk management, scheduling, budgeting, and so on. The people domain evaluates our understanding and ability to effectively develop and manage teams and handle stakeholders. The business environment domain tests whether we can align the project with the business objectives and understand the reason behind the project initiation. The PMP exam score report is also based on these three domains. However, during the exam, you won't see any labels indicating which domain a question belongs to. The final score will show our performance in each domain with four possible grades: above proficiency, which is the best grade; on proficiency, which is a good grade; below proficiency and needs improvement. The last two are not desirable, and we must aim for either above proficiency or on proficiency in all the three domains. You won't get any scores mentioned on your exam report. You can only see your grades. Also, no one knows what the official pass percentage is. However, it has been learned that if you could score 75% or above in your mock exams, then most likely you will score above target in all the three domains. Additionally, the exam has an equal weightage for agile and predictive development approaches. 50% of the questions will come from agile, while the remaining 50% of the questions will come from predictive. And that's all about the process and things you need to know about to get started with your PMP certification journey. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Remember, the hardest part is getting started. Once you start the process, the path will appear. In addition to PMP certification process, it is vital to know about the PMP exam in detail, including its structure, the question types, and other insights to take your next step in your PMP journey. I've made a video for this. Please make sure to check this video. Thank you very much and all the very best for your PMP exam success.